Head Harvester Bill Arman from the West Coast.
This is Head Harvester Ed LaFlamme from the East Coast.
Head Harvester for Human Resources Steve Caesar from Coast to Coast.
Now listen, important topic today. We have an expert, human resource expert Steve here to talk about new employee orientation. Now in the good old days when Ed and I were really rocking and rolling, we still do a little bit, but it used to be called probation. Can you figure that out?
Probationary
Like you're going to go
period.
to jail for 90 days. You're
Yeah.
in probation. Then it went to orientation. Now today's terminology is onboarding.
Right.
So Steve's going to give us some tips on onboarding for new employees. Steve,
Yep.
give us some
As
tips.
we all know, employee recruitment is so critical nowadays, and for us to hire somebody and have them leave in the first week or the first month really puts us at a disadvantage. So it's better for us to have an onboarding plan where we show the employee that they're part of our culture, we're investing in them, and they want to stay with us. So I'm going to walk you through some basic components of an onboarding program today.
Okay.
The first part is the new employee orientation program. It usually should be done on the very first day. Probably takes several hours. And this is where we want the employees to sign all the paperwork, the handbook, the confidentiality agreement, the W-4, the I-9, and all that. Make sure they get their PPE. Have them do some hands-on equipment training. Make sure they start a lawnmower or use a hedge trimmer or something like that. And also meet the key staff. Now, if we were hiring for a foreman, maybe show them the payroll person, the safety coordinator, and the account manager. So that first day, that orientation, just very, very basic stuff.
Sure.
The second part of the onboarding program is the first week. During that first week, we want them to have some operations introduction. Make sure everything they focus on, like the tailgate safety sessions, make sure they get a list of all their jobs, and make sure they understand where the materials are and how they get to and from their jobs. Very operationally focused. Make sure you have a debrief at the end of the first week so you can find out how the person's doing, to have that ongoing dialogue to see how are things working out.
Into the first day,
Even better at the end of orientation.
when they come back in at the end of the day,
Yep.
right? Somebody can greet them.
Sure.
How'd they do?
Exactly
How do
right.
they feel about the job? You
Gotta
know?
do it.
So
And maybe their buddy. They have assigned a buddy that is their person, their
Good point.
go-to person, their
Yeah.
liaison, if you will, that
Yeah.
help them navigate through the company.
yeah, that's
So
great.
at the end of the first week, we do that. But then the third part of the onboarding is the 30-day goal. What do we want the person to accomplish during those first 30 days? So here we want them maybe start the foreman training program, understand some job sequencing stuff, demonstrate their operations skills. How do they prune? How do they use the equipment? Stuff like that. And also do some staff assessment to find out if the employees they have and as part of their crew are working out or if they need more training. At the end of those 30 days, have another debrief session to find out how things are working out. The fourth and final component of the onboarding is like a 90-day plan. Here, the employees should be, basically working at full functioning. Here, the person should actually be doing some training for the employees, evaluating staff, leading a safety tailgate session, maybe doing a job site safety audit. At the end of those 90 days, do a developmental review. We don't have to pay the person any money if you don't want to, but let the person know here are your strengths and weaknesses in your action plan going forward to fit into the culture and become more efficient in the future. So onboarding gets us around some recruitment problems, orientation, week 1, 30 days, 90 days. Stay focused on those fundamentals, and hopefully it'll help us all out.
That's good stuff, Harvester
Yeah.
Steve.
We're trying,
If
man.
you have any more questions on onboarding, just click down below, get Steve's contact information. Be happy to help you on all this stuff. Really.
No problem.
And
Glad
anything
to.
else for that matter on your HR issues. So
Okay.
this is Head Harvester Bill Arman from the West Coast.
Head Harvester Ed LaFlamme from the East Coast.
Head Harvester Steve Caesar from Coast to Coast.
Now go out there and harvest your potential with a good new employee orientation program. Now we need to orient you a little bit better.
Me-
on this
me better?
film
You're
thing.
off board.
Yeah.
You're
I've
not
been
getting on board.
I've been over 90 days.
Oh, we're going to throw them overboard.
Come on,
Come on.
probationary.
We'll go on a little boat trip.
Let's go on
Come
a
missionary
let's go on a
position.
surfboard.
Get
Let's
out
go
of
on a
here. Come on.
surfboard.
Yeah, I'll throw you overboard. Let's go. Come on.